Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Aviation Diamond build series. Thanks guys for tuning into the channel. If this is your first time coming across my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. When you do hit that subscribe button, don't forget to hit the bell so you get notified when I release new videos. And last thing, give the video a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumbs down, but do it 2 times so it works better that way. Alright guys, in this video we are going to continue with progress. One of the things that I really want to cover in this video is going to be gluing the surfaces into, gluing the hinge points for the servos into the surfaces. I want to get that done, so that's going to be the next big step that we do. But first, I want to review all the equipment that I have so far that's going into this plane, so you guys have an idea of what we're putting into this plane. I have a few more things that I'm waiting on that we'll talk about those when they show up because they're exciting big items. But let's get into the equipment first, guys, and I'll show you what's going in to the Aviation Design Diamond. All right, guys, here's a bit of a smattering of equipment that we're going to put into the Diamond Jet. Let's take a quick look at all this different equipment, and that'll give you an idea of how we're putting this thing together. Again, as I've mentioned, there's some more things coming. We will cover that other stuff in other videos. All right, guys. So as I mentioned, here's kind of the equipment that I've been collecting for the past while to go into the Diamond Jet. So let's take a look at things and take a look at what's going in this this airplane. So starting off, I know this really isn't equipment, but the servo covers, these aluminum servo covers that you order from Aviation Design, they are a lot better than the stock ones that come with this kit. So the stock ones are made of plastic, and there's a couple little risers that come off of them, and then you glue your servo to the hatch cover, or you screw it into those little risers. So I think these are about $250 US, but just a rock solid way to do this, and so obviously we had to get those. To the power plant. So onto the power plant of the aircraft. I did a review on this turbine. I'll throw a link down below in the description. And during that review, we did a bunch of run-ups and testing on it and stuff like that. So check that out if you're interested at the end of the video. But we are putting a KingTech 210 G4 engine into this aircraft. Most people that I know of that build this aircraft, a lot of people go with the Baotech 220, the KingTech 210 G4, great engine, very, very similar weight, size, all that kind of stuff, very similar outputs obviously, but I like this engine better. So anyways, that's what we ended up going with. So along with the engine, the other KingTech item that we're putting in this plane is a KingTech smoke pump. Now, just like the KingTech fuel pumps, there's a solenoid on here, and the nice thing about the solenoid is it closes off the output side of the smoke pump. So I know on my other planes, I put an on-off valve, which I'll still do on this one anyways because it's habit. But you get a double system here to prevent leaking out of the smoke nozzle into the pipe or wherever you have that smoke nozzle. So I've used the Power Box smoke pumps. That's what I've got in my Tudor. KingTech smoke pumps work great as well too. So we've got a KingTech smoke pump going into this plane. Okay, going into the primary control system. I use a JR28X radio. That's my control system for my planes. So with the control system, we are using the JR11 BPX. I guess you'd call this like a, well, it's a receiver system, but it's kind of like a power bus system. But anyways, we've got 2 receivers that come with that, the remote receivers. And this is what I use in my some of my other planes. Works wonderful. Now this is the 11 BPX, so we've only got 3 X-bus outputs. With those X-bus outputs, you can use up to 4 servos per channel, so it's pretty unlimited as far as how you set this up. The next one up to 16 BPX, I think it's called. You've got a bunch of X-bus outputs on top. but this is going to work great for our needs and great setup. All right, our servos that are going in this plane, we've got two JR 8911S servos. Now these are I think the coreless servo. Yeah, pretty sure the coreless servo. So two of these guys, and these are going in the flaps of the plane. So the actual manual from Aviation Design, I think that calls for 25 kilograms of torque. This servo at 7.4 volts has 54. So amazing servos. These will work beautiful in the flaps. For all the other control surfaces, we are using the 8455. So stainless steel, and these are the 2K output servos. So again, wonderful servos. The specs on these guys, you're supposed to have 16 kilogram servos, and Aviation Design, that's what they recommend. These ones are 22 kilograms at 7.4 volts or 25 at 8.4. So these should work perfectly for what we're using it for, and these are going on the ailerons, elevators, and rudder and nose steering. So that's what we've got for servos. All right, guys, on to the power box equipment that's going in this plane. Oh no, you've got JR mixed with power box. It's okay, it works perfectly fine. So the gyro system going into this plane, I love running a gyro system on all my planes, doesn't matter which plane it is. It makes it fly better in windier conditions. If you've never used one, try it, they're amazing. I'm partial to the power box stuff because I'm familiar with it, but the power box 3 Extra, I did a setup video on this as well too. Maybe I'll link that in the description below, but this is the 3 Extra that's going in this plane. Now, if you're not familiar with the power box gyros, you can also put a GPS sensor that's plugged into the miscellaneous port on the gyro itself. And what this does is it gives you gain adjustments based on the aircraft speed. So the faster you go, the lower the gain drops. So when you're coming in for a slow landing, your gain is at its highest setting. When you're doing a 300 kilometer hour or 200 mile per hour pass, your gain's very, very low. So that's what we'll be using for the primary gyro system. I ordered the 1E. I was going to put this in my Tudor, but I never installed it yet, so I think I'm going to install it on the Diamond. Part of the reason for the Diamond is the gear's a little bit narrower than the Tudor, sits a little bit higher. More opportunity for one of those tip tanks rubbing on the ground. So we'll put this on the nose wheel in the Diamond, and that's one or the last power box item we're going to put on this aircraft. All right, guys. So Sky Candy was nice enough to send me a sweet lighting package for this plane. We've got some landing lights that are going in here. And we've also got some navigation lights as well too. The only thing that's a bit of a struggle with this particular plane is the tip tanks and how pointy they are. All right, so I would like to install the landing lights in the tips of the wingtip tanks, and also, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but that version of this that comes forward on the rudder, that's where I want to install the landing lights, but I've tried and I'm not able to pull lenses this sharp. So I need to find a solution for that. I need to find clear lenses that will match up with the wingtip tanks. I don't want to lose this shape is my problem. So yes, I could cut them off and just put the lights on there and be done with it or whatever, but this is part of what makes this aircraft what it is, and I really want to keep that pointiness of the aircraft and stuff. So that's one of the struggles that I have with this light setup. If I can't figure out how to get these installed on those pointy tips, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and install these landing lights on the gear itself. So we do have other options, but I would prefer having them installed in the aircraft if we can keep the same look. All right, guys, last thing we've got here with the fuel system is we've got our Model Aviation products. This is the high flow air trap, the 4-ounce version. And we put one of these in here. Now this is a spare one that I had. If I was buying one specifically for this plane, MAP, or Model Aviation Products, also makes one with 3 outputs on the top. So because this has a tank setup where you've got twin tanks coming to a T, going into the UAT, it would be nice to have those 2 outputs, but not a big deal. We'll just tee this off and go into each tank. It's not going to be a big deal. It's going to work either way. This is one of their newer versions, so it has the extra long filter or pickup on it. And the nice thing about these pickups is they're replaceable. You just thread them off, and you can replace that whole setup. So awesome, awesome things. I've got these in my other aircraft, and they work great. And that, guys, is the equipment that's going in this plane. When my other stuff shows up, I will definitely talk about it, and I'll show you guys what it is. Just to give you a tidbit of what it is, we've got a full wing bag setup coming from Revit. I won't tell you any more than that, other than it's coming, so that's on the way. And also a smoke tank, a custom smoke tank from CM Jets as well. That's en route as well too. So really excited to see those things arrive, and I will definitely show you guys the beautiful workmanship when that stuff arrives, because it's beautiful stuff. Love it. All right, guys, we're going to work on the surface control horns now. And this is one of those areas in the kit that you hear a lot of opposing views on. So basically there are no hard points installed in these surfaces. So what that means is there's the top skin, there's the bottom skin, and they put a slot in there, and there's no hardwood or anything else supporting it. Now, I know there's quite a few people out there that have just shoved a whole bunch of glue in there, stuck their surface control horns in like that, and it works out really well because this whole area is full of glue. These are great fitting, so when you actually take these and wiggle them side to side, you can actually feel this rubbing on the top surface of the elevator or whatever surface. They are really, really good fitting control horns, and they're actually already quite snug. Now, I am not going to just shove a bunch of glue in there. I actually have 2 options. So option number 1 is to open up the channel here. Okay, you can see it there. So what we can do is we can just use a Dremel and open this area up, and that allows us access to put some hard points in there, which is going to work great. Now, regarding the hard points, we've got a couple different options that I've seen people use, and I'll review those now with you. Now, some people were talking about using a sponge and Gorilla Glue. Now, this would be great if you were going to try to do that through the actual channel itself, because then you wouldn't have to open anything up. Now, I'm not opposed to dremeling that open. I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't think it's a bad thing. But I just want to show you what this stuff looks like. I'm not going to go this route, but I did want to test it because I've never used this before. But so Gorilla Glue, it's a polyurethane glue, works on all different types of surfaces, but it reacts with moisture. Okay, so if you're in North America, you'll have this stuff. If you're somewhere else, you won't have this stuff. But so when I glued this together about 2 hours ago, I got the sponge wet. I put some of the glue on the little piece of wood, and I glued them together. I just actually stuck them together. And then I took some of the glue, dribbled it on the top of the sponge, and used trusty bent screwdriver and just spread it out. And it's quite hard and stiff. So, and then this part here that actually contacted the glue on the board is nice and hard as well. So I definitely think this would be a kind of a neat option. I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to open up the point right here, and I'm going to install some wood beside those control horns as well. So I'm going to do it all as one piece. So that's what I'm going to do on all the surfaces. I'll show you guys what this looks like as we work our way through it. But essentially, you're just dremeling the wood away and doing that. Now, the other thing I'm going to do here when I get into these surfaces is some of these areas don't have a ton of glue. So while I'm here, I'm just going to touch those areas up just because I'm here, and I want to make sure the glue joints are perfect. All right, guys, so what I've done here is I've gone and marked the center and the right and the left as much as I want to open this up. And I'm just using my Dremel with a carbide tip bit on it, the pointy one, because it's a little bit more aggressive, and I'm just going to cut that wood away. All right, guys, there's what it looks like with the opening cut. And just put the horn in there temporarily. So basically all I want to do now is I just want to take a couple slivers of wood that slip in there beside the control horns and make sure that this whole thing gets glued together. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but that's what we're looking for. Now, of course, at this point, we could accomplish that with lots of excess glue in there. We could accomplish it with sticking some sponge in there. That would also work as well, too. So we do have options. I'm just going to use wood because I've got some, and that's what I've used in the past. And it works very well. So, but that's it. So we've got the hole opened up. We've got our control surface sanded, so it's roughed up. We drilled 3 holes in there. So when we insert this, it's going to slide all the way forward in the slot. Okay, we still have to tape the surface. And then when we look inside there, we've got some room on each side. And we're using basswood for this. And the reason I'm using basswood is just because it's easy to work with, it's fairly hard, and it's just giving more surface contact. So we're going to put 2 pieces in this way. And then we have a blocker piece that's going to go over the end like this. And then we'll finish it off nicely with high sol, and it will be a nice solid piece in there. Other thing we want to make sure we do is make sure everything lines up. So what I mean by that is if we put the cover on, the servo cover, look down from the other direction, that lines up perfectly with the center of the hole for the rod to come through. Okay, so that's important. And the other thing is we want that to be square, so I'm just using one of my planes, my mini planes, and that will allow us to get square because these are cut to nice square surfaces. So anyways, guys, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to glue this all up. I'm just doing one at a time. Right now, I'm just going to do this first one, make sure I'm happy with everything, and then I'll do all the other ones as a whole batch probably. But we'll do this first one by itself and see how it works out. All right, guys, that's what it looks like with the pieces in there. I actually took the shortest ones I had and put them in there, and they bottomed out because of the surface angles. So we're not going to put the cross piece in there, which is totally fine. But I am going to fill in that area with high sol and just make a nice smooth joint on the outside. All right, guys, it's been a full almost 24 hours. It's the next evening. I checked on this morning, and it worked good. Just giving a bit of a side pressure here. Everything's nice and solid. That's awesome. So totally happy with this. And the gluing, this isn't a pretty part of the airplane anyways, so but that is our final product. So that worked out good. I'm happy with the results. We're going to do all the other ones. Okay, guys, so a couple things that I've noticed here. I'm just working on obviously the main wings. So when we push this hinge in, trusty bench screwdriver show us the way. You can probably see that gap right there. So So I had this problem on the rudder where the actual horn was hitting the glue joint and all I had to do was sand down the glue joint. But in this case, our horn or our hinge point is actually too long. So we want to make sure we sand the edge of that down so it's coming in contact with the other surface. So just a couple points to be aware of there. All right, guys, so as I've told you in the past, I will share my mistakes with you and I will share my successes with you. So don't make the same mistake as me. I glued the wrong horn in the elevator. Let's look. All right, so this is the horn I glued in this elevator, and I should have picked up on this, but when you put this horn in the elevator, there is lots of space there. Stupid, stupid. You guys watching the beginning of this video were probably yelling at me. So anyways, this is the right elevator horn, and they are extremely different. Not even close to the same. This is the aileron horn. So, what do we need to do? Well, this has been curing for 24 hours now, the high sol. This is going to be a real pain to get out, but basically I need to get this horn out. Not sure if I can reuse it or not. We'll have to see what happens, but that's got to come out. So I'm going to work on that, and I'll obviously share what happens with you guys. All right, so first step, I took my Dremel with the disc bit, and I just got rid of the high sol that was on the edge. So that's first step. Next thing I'm going to do is take my plunge bit and start digging out the hard points and stuff in there. It's going to make an awful mess, but we got to get it out. All right, guys, got it out. Not as pretty as I wanted it to be, but here's what it looks like when it came out. And it was not easy. Definitely a lot of work. But anyways, we got it out. Really the only carnage is I punched through that side with my Dremel, which will be nice, fairly easy to hide. Won't be a problem at all. We can use a sticker over there or whatever, even black Sharpie. That'll be fine. But kicking myself a little bit, but oh well, what are you going to do? Just move forward and make it better and fix it. All right, guys, all these surfaces are ready to go, and we're even going to use the correct black things, whatever you call them. Hinge points, I don't know. Anyways, we're going to use the right ones this time. Okay, so yesterday when I was using my high sol, it was a little bit chunky. So when it's chunky like that, all you need to do is either stick it in hot water, and it will liquefy again. I think it's like the waxy side of the white. What happens is it solidifies. All I'm going to do is just heat this up with my my heat gun until it's warm, and then that does the same thing. So. All right, guys, well, that was definitely an interesting time waster. It's probably the best way to put that. Yeah, so anyways, all the wing surfaces are glued. They're all curing. I am actually thankful that I didn't glue both of those elevators last night. Thank you, Brain, for not letting me do that. So. Yeah, so we're making good progress. Happy.